So you're the reason why you like G Sheets is because it doesn't have some of the more power user features that Excel does.
In a lot of cases, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically it kind of strips down Excel to its core feature subset,
Mhm.
and then just tailors that to the mass audience.
Yeah, the mass audience, it allows for greater collaboration within the sheet. You
Yeah.
can have multiple people working in it at once.
Which, like,
Lots of
you can do. I'm
collaboration
about to
in
say
the
you can do that in
sheets.
Excel too, but the Excel document has to be stored in a 365 share,
Yeah,
like
and
in SharePoint or something
sucks.
like that.
The lag and collaborating in Excel is just not good
Well, and
in
this
any
would
sense.
this is a purely curiosity question, if anyone happens to know. But what is the the comparison between G Sheets and Excel Online? Because my understanding, because basically Excel Online, for all intents and purposes, is G Sheets.
Yeah, for the
Because
most
it's
part,
literally Excel. It's watered down Excel.
you just have to go through the Microsoft
Yeah,
ecosystem.
but same G Sheets, you have to go through the Google platform. I mean, that's potato.
I would argue going through the Google platform is a lot more or a lot easier to manage.
Well, that's where I'm gonna say I don't
into
know
that yet, but
I haven't. I understand how to manage a
Sorry,
G Suite.
no. I am speaking
tenant.
manage from the user side, not from
because
the admin
Google
side.
is dumbed down. Emphasis on the word dumb.
Well, I wouldn't even say that in certain ways. Like, yeah, I mean, on certain fronts, they've oversimplified a few key areas, but then like G Suite as a whole, like if you look at the management backend of it, there are some wild things that you can do in that backend, and I'm just like I don't fully understand it because I don't work in the Google ecosystem every day. But it is definitely, I'm not gonna say it's apples to apples, but it is more of a apples and oranges argument where they have similar products, but how they're implemented and managed are definitely, I wouldn't say directly comparable.
The performance on Sheets is a lot better than Excel Online.
Oh, I would not doubt that at all.
Yeah,
because
and I would attribute that to because it's a it's a more limited tool set. It's a smaller piece of software because it has less capability. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying it's like, but as you mentioned, like it's simplified. It is just a spreadsheet software that you can do relatively basic spreadsheet things in. So it's a very simplified. That's why I'm curious about. I would be interested to see that like a side by side of features of Excel Online specifically and Google Sheets to see how simplified Excel Online is, because obviously Excel itself, the full fat Excel, is far more feature rich than Sheets.
Oh yeah.
And so in that comparison, yeah, there's going to be lag because the software's having to run the full it's having to compute the full software versus the lighter software.
So we're saying
heavier software
that,
versus lighter software.
We're saying that G Sheets is more body positive than Excel is.
Anyways.
Welcome, Hostility, to 2025. I'm not your host, Matthew, joined here today by
Steven.
What?
I'm so
Ian?
confused.
My name
right
is
now.
Ian.
You said I could do the intro, so just introduce yourself.
I'm John, I think.
So you're John, you're Steven.
this is Nathan.
I already said my name. You just
You're
weren't
Ian.
listening.
So to those of you that listened to us in 2024, thank you. For those of you that felt like you suffered through it, we hope to do better this year. For those of you that are just joining us, welcome. Last episode, we took a look at 2024 and we had kind of our year in review. This week, we are looking forward to the rest of 2025. So this is kind of our official Welcome to 2025. That is going to be the focus moving forward. Nathan, what are
Hi.
we talking about today? Besides the fact that
We need to
it's
beat up on this
2025.
guy a little more. He's way too bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for like this
For
recording right now. Like, what are you doing? Don't you know that this is the fall of the Western society?
This is Tuesday morning. We've already gotten through Monday, right? We've already gotten through Monday. We've gotten like we don't have the case of the Mondays anymore. It's Tuesday. We've kind of settled into
I'm
the
still
week.
taking the
We're
squeegee
back
trying to
in the
get the
grind.
poop off my desk that people threw at me yesterday. Like, come on, man.
I'm
Don't-
trying to figure out how you think any day isn't Monday. Every day is Monday unless it's a weekend.
Monday is a mindset. You just have to have a
Yeah,
Tuesday
it's a
mindset.
mindset that we wake up with every day.
Or you could have like a Thursday mindset. Like every day is Thursday.
no, Thursday's worse because it's Friday Eve. You're tortured.
that
with,
every
you're
day is
tortured
Friday.
With you're tortured with the knowledge
Except
that
it's not.
tomorrow's Friday and not today.
If I think every day is Friday, I'm going to be looking forward to tomorrow, and then when tomorrow comes, I'm disappointed. I am always disappointed.
Well, then
That's what that
we can look at
means.
this episode as Monday then, because if our last episode of 2024 was Friday, right? Then the first episode of this year could kind of be looked at as like the weekend, like we came back on holiday and everything, and then this one is the Monday of 2025.
So we all agree later we're gonna take him out back and we're just gonna.
He's going to get lost in the gulch.
Well, since we're now in the present, which was the future of last week's episode, we should look at the future now, right?
It's not very bright. Well, actually, it might have a very fast, like, bright
Okay,
flashing
all
light.
right, all right, all right.
All right. So since Matthew clearly has all the energy in the room, all the combined energy from everybody, we are going to look
Hey,
ahead.
The coffee pot was available to everybody.
We
I'm just gonna
are
throw that out there.
crashing. We,
Fair point.
we are crashing.
Fair point.
Wait, where'd you get the coffee pot? I said that I'm not supplying that anymore. Budget cuts.
Hey.
I
I'll hook
sent
you up with my coffee dealer.
I sent out the return to office like notice last week.
No, Jonathan, it's not. We said it's not budget cuts. We have budgetary restraints.
This would be a perfect place
My
for a coffee
mistake.
sponsor.
I'm going to restrain your budget around your what?
Okay. Back on topic now. We did the look back last week. This week we're going to make maybe predictions, maybe hopes, maybe dreams.
A lot of prayers, so many prayers, and possibly sacrifices.
So Matthew, since you have all the energy at the moment, we'll start off with you. We have multiple categories. How these categories are interpreted by everybody, I intentionally gave no guidelines as far as how you need to interpret these. Just here's the category. Have fun. Category 1, anticipated tech news.
Okay, so for those of you that listened to our last episode, I talked about the Windows 365 Link PC and how that was my most disappointing tech change of 2024. It's a new piece of technology that was introduced. For those of you that don't know what it is basically a thin client. All it does is connect to a Microsoft Windows virtual machine
Windows 365.
Virtual desktop
in their
environment.
cloud. Yeah, it is absolutely hot garbage in my personal opinion. My anticipated tech news for 2025 is that I really hope to see that they cancel this thing. That this thing just crashes and burns so fast.
Wow, this didn't start vindictive at all.
I'm bringing the hostility today, boys.
All right, Steven.
See
What you got?
that?
Top that.
So anticipated tech news.
Yes.
Tech in the news.
That I will accept
I
that
feel like
interpretation.
I feel like this is only a matter of time. This is something that we deal with issues concerning this piece of software far too often. We wish that we could just get rid of having to even touch the thing, but it just keeps coming back like a stomach bug. But I anticipate. Actually, is this better for anticipate something for something? Yeah, no, I think this is the best category for it. A major compromise of QuickBooks.
Oh,
I feel like it
That's
is
so
truly
specific.
it's truly only a matter of time. I can't believe that they haven't had, and when I say major, I mean major, like either significant customer data leak, a shutdown of the platform, something. I mean, like truly major.
If I was in, if I was still anywhere in,
I've also seen QuickBooks admin like passwords from different companies, and it's
if I was
terribly, it's exceptionally
Well,
sad.
because you have to remember those databases are hosted locally in their infrastructure, though. It's that QuickBooks.
is.
It's that QuickBooks Online.
QuickBooks Online that most people are well, not most, but
I
a lot of
was
people are moving
in
to.
support, if I was in the support stack, anywhere in the support stack, I would hate you right now. I'd be throwing things at you right now for speaking that into existence. On behalf of all the L1, L2, L3 engineers out there, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that was just uttered here.
I mean, come
Good
on.
grief, dude.
What's the likelihood? What's the likelihood that QuickBooks is going to have a massive compromise this year? I mean, it's not like
very high.
It's not like QuickBooks and Sage
Very
50 use very similar protocols. So it's like if you compromise one, accounting
and it's not
solution.
Like the entire purpose of the software is to store financial data, which is extremely valuable to attackers.
Well, I mean,
it not only just stores financial data. You can also run your entire inventory system out of it.
To be fair, there's probably been an absolutely ridiculous amount of QuickBook leaks over the years just because of where people choose to put their QuickBooks databases.
Truth.
And I'm not going to give any more details other than that statement on air. I do not want to be responsible for us uttering any of that. But other than if it's stupid, that's too logical a place for it, it's dumber. Whatever you think is the dumb place to put it, I promise you, it's dumber.
Who put it in the trunk of their car, unlocked it in the middle of the ghetto?
Again, not dumb enough. It's not dumb enough.
Okay, that's one thing I can't say that is something I've ever heard of someone storing in the recycle bin. Other things, yes. The QuickBooks database, no. I can't say that I've heard of that.
I don't think you can because it constantly writes data to it.
You can put a battery to it and connect it to Starlink.
This.
I don't want to test.
Can we set up a lab environment and get
No.
QuickBooks? Can we just use one of our clients' like old versions of QuickBooks, like 2017 or something?
No, Steven. No.
A totally random copy that we found
if
somewhere.
you pay for the
in
QuickBooks
trash.
subscription, we can try this, but you have to pay for the subscription.
I was going to say, John
I think
has
my dad
plenty of
has some
space
old
to
versions of QuickBooks.
John has the space to spin up a VM. That won't be an issue.
Oh, I don't even have to do that.
Anyway, I have a space to spin up a VM, but yeah. Anyway, that's my anticipation of 2025.
I think it's fair to say that Steven topped mine. Like mine, the only affected party in that is Microsoft.
Okay, Matthew, I need from the whatever point that this. So we're not the clock, unless it happens between now and the time this episode airs. The clock has not started yet. The clock officially starts when the episode airs. We need some sort of counter.
Nice.
That's your job. I'm assigning
so
you
many days since QuickBook hasn't been compromised.
Yes, Matthew. That's
Will
one of your jobs.
Will this be like the Twitch channel?
I could.
We call it
God.
Q Day.
God, no, Matthew. So what he said, but the counter's on our website.
Yes. Yes, let's do it.
I boys, this is gonna be how we go viral.
You got to do it somehow.
All right.
I don't know how we're.
know.
Okay.
I love John's face right now.
Well, because how are we gonna talk?
Is this a days since prediction, or is this a days until? Like, are we just kind of counting down?
No,
No,
just
it's a counting up.
Like counting up from that day.
Yes.
It's like literally
Okay.
number of days that QuickBooks has not been compromised.
Nice.
Yeah, I just don't see how we're gonna surpass the person who built the app that tracks the McDonald's ice cream machines.
I forgot about that for the last episode.
I think that was before 2024, though.
No,
It was,
no,
but it's still applicable.
but for big tech news, sorry, we're going back to the previous episode for this one. The contract that only gave McDonald's repairs to a single company that was vastly underemployed is now open, and they can they can let anybody
we
repair
won?
it now.
They won?
They won.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. That's good news. It's very good news.
Okay.
I feel like I've succeeded in this episode because I topped Matthew and I made John feel very uncomfortable.
Not just John. Not just
No,
John.
Yep. I made half of everybody feel very uncomfortable.
All right, Ian. Let's see if this makes it worse or gets it back on the rails.
Skynet. Skynet's gonna happen.
You think this year?
I think by the end of the year.
Okay.
Only partially kidding.
No, yeah, I think legitimately you're right based on some other things I've been seeing and murmurs I've heard.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
On a slightly more serious topic, I am really looking forward to this year potentially being the year where colored e-readers or colored e-ink screens actually get good.
I can second that. I can second that.
The black and white, like I don't mind black and white, and if I was using a device for just reading like a Kindle, not a big deal. But if I'm going to make the leap to a full or an e-ink device, kind of like the books, I want it to be color.
That's fair.
If it's gonna do, I could see that if it's going to be doing things, more things than just you reading a book.
Magazines.
Yeah. Okay.
Magazines.
All right. That makes sense.
Well,
so-
what I'm saying is like Matthew's books, he can watch YouTube on it.
Yeah.
Like
Like the refresh rate
that's
is
the
fast enough
part-
to where you can watch video on it.
I don't know. I guess I'm a boomer traditionalist more in this vein of like it's called an e-reader.
no,
if you
no,
want
no,
to
no.
watch YouTube, do it on your phone.
But
Okay,
no,
okay,
it
okay.
is an
Other tablet or
e-ink
laptop, like-
screen. We're not talking about specifically e-readers, devices
E-ink
with
tablet.
e-ink screens.
Okay, so all right, then that to me that begs the question: if that's going to be the primary purpose for the device, why do you not have that?
No, no,
Or
no.
why do you not
So
have an actual tablet?
for the tablet side of things, what I
Uh-huh.
talked about last episode, I was taking notes, right,
Sure,
and annotating PDFs.
sure.
All right, I can only do one color in my notes and annotations
Uh-huh.
currently because it's black and white. It's monochrome. But if I have a color display, what happens? I can then annotate in different colors. It adds a little bit more context to different things because you can have your own little color scheme. I can highlight some things in red. I can highlight some things in yellow. I can write in different
And
colors.
it looks like
It-
it looks like paper,
Yes.
like for the like
Yes.
just real.
So
to
it,
your,
it does
to your
it does
eye.
add a lot outside of the fact that you can do most normal like tablet screen thing
Mhm.
on a different screen technology.
Okay.
I should also point.
The
Real quick, I just want to point out for those of you who don't know, one of the main benefits of e-ink. There's two. One is that a still image does not draw power on an e-ink screen. So there's that.
this was one of the points that I was about to bring
The
up.
other thing though is that anytime you're looking at a screen, you're staring into a flashlight. That's basically what you're doing.
Sure.
E-ink, and it's because all the screens that you're looking at right now, it's all backlit.
Right.
E-ink has no backlight. Most of them do have lights on them, but there's actually lights around the edges that
The
shine
front light.
that shines onto the front of the screen, not through the back. So you are not staring into a light source. You're staring at a surface that is being lit.
Imagine opening up your phone and not being completely and totally
So it's
blinded
not
in the middle of the night.
even-
It's the same as opening a book.
It's not
and
even
there's light on
side
the
lit.
page.
Like it's literally it's
No, it's side lit.
It's
It's
considered side lit.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But it's still this, even though it's on the side, it's in front of the screen, not behind it.
Okay.
So it's still shining on it, but it is around the edges.
Hold on, I'm pulling out my tablet to do a visual demonstration.
What visual demonstration on an audio only podcast?
Yes.
Well, while
This is-
while he does that for Steven, I will talk. The big part for me is simply the
So that's a front light.
the enhanced battery efficiency.
Yes.
Like for my tablet right here, I've got a Tab S9 Ultra. I love the tablet. It's great. It works really, really well for everything that I do. But I charged
that's
this
fine.
thing last night, and it's at 30% battery, and the vast majority of that power has gone to the screen because it is a 14-inch screen. So if I can get anything that it just gives me 20% more battery efficiency, I'm gonna be really happy.
So for the listeners, Steven's currently playing with the tablet. I'd say that like we give him
I
5
did
more
play with
minutes,
it, and I totally messed it up
and
for
he's
Matthew.
gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, this is my most
Not
anticipated
really.
tech device of 25."
I definitely can't say that, and that's more so just my tech, just my interests and usage of things and stuff. Like, nah, I mean, now I have.
You could become a man of culture and read more.
He didn't get that education.
Oh boy.
And Steven, was the last
the
book that you,
funniest thing I've
was the
heard.
last book that you read when you were in college?
No. I did when I was.
No, it was when he was studying for that certificate that he had
What?
to.
The first one that I ever got. Yeah, when I studied for the A+, I read I had a book for it. That wasn't 7 years ago. It was almost 8. Anyway, so moving on.
Anyway, so
So, jokingly, Skynet is my most anticipated, which I give a 50-50 shot legitimately for. And my actual, I'll let you say it after this, my actual most anticipated is a 60 hertz colored e-ink screen.
Because I did just see what I think we are talking about, the refresh rate.
Yeah.
Like the little stutter, like in between flipping pages. It's like, yeah, it's noticeable.
I mean,
It's not
honestly,
horrible,
on the
but
fastest
it's
refresh either.
if they have a 30 hertz,
That should be.
I
yeah.
mean, honestly,
That's fair. Yeah, you're right. For the majority of what I do,
24
30
is all
hertz.
that the eye can perceive.
so I mean, literally 24.
I'm not even going to get into like where that originated from and why you're wrong.
I'm sorry. I remember the good old days.
I'm not going to get into it. All I'm going to say is that's not how eyes work.
So mine is much simpler. This will get us back on the rails for a moment before John takes us right back off. And mine is Microsoft will not extend the free Windows 10 support past October 15th.
You think that they're going to move to a subscription service?
No, I think that they will actually they will not enact the normal 30,000 extensions
Yeah.
Oh,
for
I
Windows
see.
10. They will actually let it die.
Hmm.
That's my prediction.
See, the hard part about that is that to get to Windows 11, you have to have the right processor now, right? If I remember that, because it has to
Well,
have
I
the
think there's a
enhanced
hack for
security.
it.
There's
Okay.
not even a hack anymore.
But
There are actually Microsoft supported ways to install Windows 11 without having to go through all the original requirements that when Windows 11 first came out that you had to do. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you still technically need to have a TPM module and do encryption and secure boot and all that stuff, but it's not as restrictive as it was. At least based on my testing, I've been able to load Windows 11 on devices that it is not natively supported.
Is
and
that
still
for
works.
personal devices or business devices?
Personal.
And
Personal
I'm referring to
so,
personal.
So okay, that's fair.
I'm referring to
Because
personal.
I imagine in a business environment that they will still have that requirement. Surely, I mean it's Microsoft, so maybe not. But
I appreciate the optimism.
well, okay. Let me put it this way: surely, as the IT management firm, you guys will push that.
Oh yeah, we're
Oh yeah, no,
For-
we don't care. We're just like, it's like, hey, Windows 11 is coming out. This list of computers is not compatible with Windows 11. You get to purchase those this year.
Yeah.
You can decide when you want to buy them.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, because
We
the
would prefer you do it sooner
the other
rather than
hilarious thing
later.
is like because not only is Microsoft saying, hey, October 14th, that is the end of life date for Windows 10. On that same date, if you use Microsoft's modern licenses under 365 and you have the local Office apps installed, those will also stop working on Windows 10. So if you want to continue using your Office applications, either you have to do in the cloud version of the web browser, which most people do not like doing, or you are now strong-armed and forced to go to Windows 11, which I think is a honest, good position that Microsoft is taking. Because Windows 10 is old.
I hate to say it, but yeah, it is.
It's like 2014, I
Yeah.
think. I think
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
I guess that makes sense because it was Windows 1 when it first came out.
It's 2015, I think.
2015, yeah,
Yeah.
somewhere around there. It's around that 10 years old.
Yeah, because after the 8 and 8.5 debacle, they're like, we're just gonna move to Windows.
I mean,
10.
Well, it wasn't
is
even
right.
8.1.
Has it been
So
the
I thought it was
longest?
8.5.
That's 8.1.
Has
Okay.
it been the longest running Windows version?
I don't know off the
I
top
think
of
it's
my
still
head.
XP came out in like 2000 and
XP didn't lose support until
Two?
2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was XP.
Yeah,
I
because
think.
XP and 7 also had very long shelf lives.
Which, by the way, just blows my mind. Who was on XP in 2017?
You-
Dude, there's still machines
People
on
right
XP.
now.
There are people
What?
that
Right
use
now.
Windows
Why?
ME still.
That's
There-
like
and
certain
there-
companies still running DOS systems.
Yeah, because there are like a lot of the machine like machine works in the commercial side. There's a lot of our infrastructure that we do day to day, like train systems, bus systems. Even now, a lot of them have been upgraded, but a lot of our traffic light systems ran on those old architectures, and like they didn't have a new, modern, updated version that you could use a more
There's
modern
still
OS.
stuff
It's
running
software
DOS.
developers' fault.
There's also a huge amount. Well, it's also manufacturing's fault because there's a huge amount of plants and stuff that the various machinery runs DOS
And that's a
XP.
software development
I'd like to
problem.
amend that statement. It's not the software developer's fault. It's the
Those previous
business's
software
fault
developers.
for not funding the upgrade of that software. I guarantee you there's software developers out there that would love to go back and fix those things, but they either never had the opportunity, they were laid off, they went somewhere else, and the business that put out that software didn't fund the further development of it. So it's not necessarily the developer's fault. It is the business's owning that software.
Hence
their fault.
manufacturing, because it's
Yeah.
the manufacturing company, the companies that make manufacturing devices, plant, whatever you want to call it, that just let it die.
To their credit though, I think there's something to be said for let's say a manufacturer that they have the software that's worked for 30 years. It's offline, so they're not storing any business critical information. It's just running their machines. Why should they upgrade? Why should they invest bajillions of dollars to get the latest and greatest when what they have works and it works well and it does what they need it to do?
I go back to my previous statement from last episode of poopy head people who are looking to take advantage of anyone and everyone. And to my, I don't have a full understanding of this, but to my understanding, in a lot of cases, offline doesn't really mean offline. And I mean, there is.
I think it would in the
there
DOS
is the term
scenario.
There, I mean, there is a thing. There's air gapping something like where that is something truly offline. I would argue a lot of cases where some people may think it's offline, it's not necessarily.
And that's
offline.
I think I would agree
having
that-
things offline would be better.
Like just
I
because
would
it
ag-
doesn't have a network cable plugged into it, in some cases doesn't mean that
well,
it's
I'm also
safe.
I'm also referring to. There's also, I think people would be stunned at the amount of machinery that's still in use that has no way to connect to a network. So there's no hardware method.
Yeah, no. If
for
if
connecting
it's
to a
in
network.
that regard, yeah. If it doesn't have any network capability whatsoever, cool. Yeah, it's pretty safe.
John.
I'm gonna go back to Ian's doom and gloom. I think in 2025, the dead internet theory is no longer going to be a theory. I think it's going to be proven that not only is it true, that it's worse than even we originally predicted.
For the audience, what is the dead internet theory?
The dead internet theory is that there's no more human generated content that actually exists online. It's all generated by a machine, either AI or large server farms, things of that nature, that it's all artificial. It's just a machine talking with another machine generating that content that we potentially consume or another machine consumes. And the likelihood of that becoming a reality is growing more and more each day as the AI revolution continues.
Especially
Bet.
if you're on Reddit.
So we will put a pin in that one. I believe that is going to be a topic for a future episode. So
That ought to be a juicy one.
It's going
Yeah.
to be an interesting one.
So that was anticipated tech news. New software or service. Matthew.
I have, let's see here. I have 3. So to follow up on the
You
one
get
like
one.
major one
Pick
and then
what-
2 just
pick
quick things.
well.
The major one to follow up on our discussion last episode on CrowdStrike. One of the things that I'm looking forward to seeing is Windows moving more things out of the kernel. The reason why CrowdStrike exists in the kernel is because they're forget which layer it is, but the APIs for doing what CrowdStrike does don't exist outside of the kernel. So the software has to be there. That being said, Microsoft has said that they will make some changes there, or at least have alluded to making changes there. I am interested to see how that plays out and if things move out of the kernel, because if it does, and especially if they do things on the gaming side of things like kick anti-cheat out of the kernel, that will be interesting for the Linux gaming side of things.
There should be no such thing as an anti-cheat that has kernel level access.
'Cause
That is the
it doesn't
stupidest
need
thing.
it. There still hasn't been any argument that I have seen that has proven that an anti-cheat needs to sit in the kernel. There isn't one.
At
You-
that point, I just see it
everything-
as spyware.
Yeah, everything that a anti-cheat needs to see can be done from the application level. I think it's like oh god, I can't remember what the software layers on Windows. But it's that same side that standard applications.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason that it needs to go deeper than that at this current stage.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if that happens, because that would shake things up quite a bit on the software side of things. And then just two like personal, I'm looking forward to these. Emacs 30 should be releasing sometime soon. Emacs 29 came out October of 23, I think. So excuse me, it's been a minute. And then Debian 13, Trixie, that should be releasing here soon as well.
Yeah,
Debian
it
12
is.
was also 23, I think, 2022 or 23. Both of those are like relatively minor updates, but it's nice to see the increment of the number, the minor updates here and there, the nice tweaks and stuff. Those are just two things that I'm excited to see.
Steven.
I'm going to consider this a loosely considered technology and loosely considered a service, but this is a hopefulness of mine that I have for 2025, in that we will see the complete wide adoption of self-checkout in any form of retailer.
I was really holding out that you were going to say Linux for some reason.
No.
No.
No, I'm really hopeful that this will be the year that any business that's been holding out on offering it, not converting to it, not pulling a full Wally World and having that's their only option, at least for a brief
My favorite
moment.
is every time
I was
they
gonna say
roll
they
it
roll
out,
it
they
back.
roll it back.
But
That's so satisfying.
but at least offering it as an option.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So that's
Even Aldi has it as an option now.
Yeah,
Some
it is.
really,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
Some
it's
Aldis.
happening. It's happening. I just need there's some particular gas stations, quick services that I need to get on board.
I don't think
but
you're ever going to get out of the gas station.
offering. I just want one.
Maybe
I just
if we
need
eventually get
one!
like a Buc-ee's, we'll get self checkout.
Yeah, I can see a Buc-ee's
But
doing
Buc-ee's could do it, yeah. But like your Casey's,
I think
your
actually, hold on.
nah,
I think the
they make too much money off the cigarettes.
the
Well, no, you can still
Jiffy
do
Trips
that.
around here.
I'm not talking about
self-checkout.
replacing it.
Yeah, I
no,
don't
no,
know. I
but they
haven't
want
been to
they
one of
want you
those
to
in a
look
while.
at the cigarettes because you're more likely
It'll
to
be
buy
right
one.
beside the existing one. You could still see them.
You can't just take it because the cashier has to confirm you're over 18.
All they have to do
Anyway,
is
Ian,
rearrange.
what is your
Don't kill my dream.
I'm going with a service here. Past several, or I guess 2.5 years or so now, we've seen image generators, AI image generators like Midjourney, Dolly. There's a few others, but those are kind of the two big ones at the moment. They're all just 2D. I think we're gonna see them either those services or a new service emerge that offers a 3D model generation. Now, there are some of those already out there. They're okay. They're not great. But I think we're going to get the high quality of Midjourney, Dolly, that level of generation on a 3D model.
As
And I'm
the-
excited to see that.
As the husband of an artist, I just have to step in here and say, how dare you? That is a terrible thing. We don't want AI anywhere.
Artists
And-
all steal from each other anyway. There is no original thought.
No comment on that. I'm just saying this so that I can say that I said my piece.
All right. So I'm going to change mine around a little bit. What mine originally was, we'll discuss in a later episode when we go more deeply into AI. I will just touch on, I think you will see I'm looking forward to significant advancement in code generating AI. Now, I 100% disagree that it's going to be the death of all developers. I think in the long run, AI, especially AI code generation, is actually going to lead to the need for even more developers. It's just going to look different than what it looks like right now.
As a developer, I just need to step in here and say, how dare you? I use Copilot myself on the side, so I am excited to see if it can do more. I don't think that we will have complete replacements for developers. If anything, we've seen the opposite, like you've said. Every piece of software that has been put out there, like Devon and what is it, Anthropic's Claude and stuff like that, they can answer questions, but they can only solve very small problems.
Yep.
Well,
They can't do a massive sweeping changes.
Because they can only do, I think, what, up to 162-ish lines of code. Like, I think the current model is like that's the largest they can really
Something
do.
like that. They can only hold so much context,
Yeah.
which is what's holding it back.
I think the one I played around with was Cursor AI.
Mhm.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to see significant advancements in very basic code generation, but then also very specific code generation.
Yeah.
And what this is going to lead to is I do think you're going to have a significant reduction in I would say, kind of your more surface to mid-level developers. And I think the shift is going to be a much more of an engineering
Mhm.
Type role where you don't do very much in the way of true code generation. You're not just writing code for hours on end. You are reviewing code for hours on end, and you are tweaking code for hours on end.
That sounds like hell to me. But
you're also
yeah.
but where that can be very beneficial though is that whereas what required a team of multiple coders plus one or more engineers, you'll need a coder who's closer to an engineer. So basically kind of like a level 1 engineer
Mhm.
and then a level 2 engineer. It's kind of or something along those lines to where the grunt is actually having to do a lot more engineering
Mhm.
than they currently do.
I mean, yeah, I would agree that it is definitely raising the bar in that interns, I think, if anybody's going to be out of a job, it's going to be interns and juniors.
Mhm.
Because if the AI can do what they do, then why do you need them?
I think there's a very high possibility, back to what was mentioned in the previous episode. I think there's a very high probability of, and we'll do an episode on this later, of actually have another cycle of true innovation in the software space.
Mhm.
I think was what this is going to lead to. John, what you got?
This one I think is going to please Matthew the most. I'm anticipating, and hopefully they do release it, but the full public release of SteamOS.
Yes.
I honestly think that we might get that this year, and it's going to really benefit that whole kicking kind of Windows to the curb and trying to have an OS for, I mean, the gamers, but in more reality, just for the general populace. It's a very good solution that's already there on the desktop side. When you get out of SteamOS and just kind of use the desktop interface, it's great. I mean, it's what I think built off of
KDE.
KDE.
So the underlying system is Arch.
Okay, that's right.
I think they started as Gentoo, and
They
then
did.
the underlying system now is Arch, and then the desktop environment is KDE. Once you get outside of the Steam big picture mode.
Yeah, but like just having that be your underlying OS desktop experience, and then or having that option of, hey, this my computer is only a gaming computer. Let's just boot directly into Steam OS and like into Steam itself, and there you go. It's in big picture mode. Everything is there. You're not having to run Windows on the underlying side. You're going to be getting much more fuller use out of your computer because you're not having to run as heavy of a operating system on top
You're
of it.
not wasting it on Windows bloat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be just a great benefit to the general populace if Valve can get that fully pushed to the public market.
Yeah. So far, I think the Lenovo Legion Go
Yeah,
is
the
officially going to be supporting it. They have done a lot of Steam updates, so they support the ROG Ally as far as like controller support goes. They don't support it as far as SteamOS goes, but we are seeing Valve open things up quite a bit, and I do agree that's going to be fun to see.
All right, so number 3 could be a little bit redundant for some. So if you have something, cool. If you don't, cool. Software or service update. Does anyone have anything for that category? Going once, going twice.
I thought we just did that.
That was supposed to it was supposed to be something like brand new, and then something existing that's being updated.
I do have one.
Okay.
If Microsoft can just not make any additional changes to the 365 environment for 1 year, just leave it alone.
Fair.
Basically, the
I-
opposite of the topic. Is,
Yeah,
we
but
just
no,
failed
no,
it.
no, that's a software service update. That is just a quality of life update. We didn't touch it.
We did.
Fair.
That's fair.
So
I
what you're
agree
saying
with
is
that.
you want Windows to update like Blizzard has been updating Diablo 2 Resurrected, and that they don't.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay.
All right, so we're going.
Don't get me back on that one either.
So we'll move on to most anticipated new software service. Anyone have anything, Matthew?
Okay, so last episode we talked about Google Chrome being sold off and how that's going to shake up the browser market quite a bit. Additionally, something that has been gaining a lot of traction is the Ladybird browser. I don't know if anybody else here has heard of that, but it is another third-party browser. It's not running off of Gecko, which is the Mozilla engine, and it's not running off of Chromium. They are, I think it's Andreas Kling and his team of software developers are creating a new browser from scratch.
Am I supposed to know that name?
No, I'm just that's the name of the guy that's
Yeah,
heading up the project.
The way you said it, it sounded like Elon Musk.
No.
You know, it was someone you should know kind of thing.
Not yet.
You will soon, because the
hopefully.
Ladybird browser has been taking off. They anticipate that it'll be ready for, I don't know if it's like alpha or beta,
It's alpha.
by
It's an alpha build.
2026. So it's not.
Oh, they're really putting work into it then.
It's
yeah,
not
it's a lot.
100% usable yet. But I've been following him on X.
Well, it
they're-
not from the GUI side, but from the backend side, it is.
Yeah. So then that's the thing, is that they are crushing it on browser benchmarks, which is incredible. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah,
'cause-
like how it does. Like it's very efficient on how it does its indexing, and it's using its search functionality on how it actually browses the web is really interesting because going from the conceptual side of how Chromium operates to this new system. I mean, they're similar foundational blocks, but just how it's going for, okay, this is how we have done it for, decades and decades and decades at this point of how we want to interact with the web. What if we basically conceptualize, what if we took out all of the inconsistencies here and just made, what is the simplest way we can do this? Go. That's what they did. And it's just very interesting to watch as this continues to develop further on, as to the days of I have to open Chrome, it has to then load all the extensions, has to load all of its plugins, and then you're able to actually start using it. And then when you use it, it's having to constantly refresh every instance of that, or have to load all that in cache. May not have to be a thing anymore, depending on, again, how they choose to further the development of this project. But when it's coming to a web browser that you say, I only want to browse the web, I don't want to do anything else, I don't need it to do anything else, it's a really cool project.
Oh, good. It's another browser we can use to open 365 tenants. Awesome.
Maybe if it kind of supports it. So that's a thing with when you're creating a new web browser from scratch, or just web browser in general. There are certain protocols and things that you have to be able to use and manage and have the backend support for. And I'm definitely going to say this, like, if this comes like out of beta into full release, platforms like that, in theory, they should work. But I wouldn't say it's guaranteed. And I'm not saying that, they're not incapable of doing it, but that's also a different thing that from what the end user typically interacts with. Is that something you want to tailor your experience to, or do you want to tailor it to, this audience or that audience? If you're wanting to build an all-in-one great solution, all that means you're sacrificing something else. And so what is the actual vision of this web browser? And like, it's more of just let's go back to basics, simplify this back down, and get our building blocks like really, really stout first before we start continuing on this adventure, which I admire like a ton on projects like this. Because instead of going, this is the status quo of what everyone else does, we're going to go against the grain and really get what we know is going to be the best product we can potentially push out there. Like, just done.
Steven, did you have anything for this one?
I do not.
Ian, did you have anything for this one?
No, I've been trying to think of anything that I've.
That's okay. I had one, and then I just threw it straight out the window. Just completely yeeted it because of an article Matthew sent us. My most anticipated new software is not new software. It's the resurrection of Pebble OS.
Yes,
Oh,
I
boy.
finally.
Oh,
They've been saying they were gonna do this for years.
One of the greatest crimes.
I've forgotten about
in the
that.
Yeah,
One
Pebble
of-
was great.
One of the greatest crimes in the tech world was when Fitbit purchased and then murdered in broad daylight Pebble.
It wasn't even like a clean one either.
No.
it
It
was
was messy.
gruesome.
It was a public execution of the goriest kind. And I had a Pebble. Basically, I had a second gen Pebble. I want to say I'd almost ordered. I think I ordered the third gen. No. So there's the Pebble 1. You had Pebble Color. I had a Pebble Color. And then Pebble 2, Pebble Color 2 came out. I was going to get one of them right as they announced them, right as they released them. Fitbit bought them and then completely murdered it. And the worst thing about it is that they brought nothing over to Fitbit. Now, in the back end, was there probably some software services brought over? Most likely. Were some of the Pebble engineers assigned to Fitbit software? Probably. But everything that was great about Pebble died. And it was
literally that acquisition of a competitor.
Yes.
Just to get rid of.
And it was also one of the first like massively successful Kickstarters. It was one of the projects, if I remember correctly, that really put Kickstarter on and that whole concept on the map and made it serious. And it was an e-ink watch, for those of you who don't know what it was. And legitimately, I charged mine once a week.
It always reminded me of the Tamagotchis.
Yes. Yes. There was this like dig game thing that I had on mine too. But it was an e-ink watch. It was amazing. Loved it. Mine did die. It was a very sad day when it died. And I want that to come back. And then what I want is Books to make an e-ink watch,
Mhm.
and I want them to use Pebble OS. None of the stupid Android Watch OS idiocy. No, give me Pebble OS.
So to add some
Take my money,
backstory
people.
to
Take
this,
my money.
Google bought Fitbit, and then Google is the one that is open sourcing Pebble OS. So this is like a good job, Google kind of moment.
For once, they didn't just take something that they bought years ago and then just kill it.
It was already dead, and then now
I
they're
would like to
resurrecting-
point out over the last 2 episodes, we've now had 2 good job Googles.
I know.
One for the Stadia and one for this.
This is a weird time.
It is.
It's a weird timeline.
I don't like this. Let's go.
We've
Let's
got to
reverse
dunk on
time.
Microsoft to
Put
like.
this
All
down.
right.
Make
Oh,
a
don't
note
worry.
of this.
I
Down
got
with that.
I got something for that later.
They've got Google has gotten their kudos for the year. That's it.
Yep.
We're done.
All right.
Did you have anything for this topic, John?
For this one, no.
Okay. So next is going to be most anticipated new hardware. Anybody got anything for that?
Oh, I got something
Matthew?
for that.
I'll let John go first.
You know what I'm actually super excited for because I want this shakeup to happen. Because you have the arms race between AMD and Intel on the server side. What I want, finally for 2025, I want ARM servers to start taking market share.
Ooh.
I really
interesting.
want to see what that type of infrastructure can really do.
So
What
fun-
if NVIDIA just comes out and says, surprise, we actually built an ARM server chip?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised
Okay,
if they did.
do you know who I think has one already?
Who's that?
Qualcomm.
No, Qualcomm does.
No. So I think with so
They do?
and I don't want to.
Or at least they've been developing one. It may already be on into market, but they
Oh.
do have one that they've been working on.
We don't have time to argue this, so we will hold any in-depth discussion for a future episode. But based on what Apple has said about Apple Intelligence,
Yep.
it sounds like they
You mean
have
a
to.
rebranded OpenAI? Got it.
No, that's not. No, it's actually it's completely different. No, it's not. It's not OpenAI. It's different. At least it's from what everything Apple has said. And
Apple says a lot of things and they lie about a lot of things.
if it so again, we can debate that later. But either maybe it is in the back end just all OpenAI, then this doesn't matter. But if it is completely separate, like they say it is, then it is all M1 server or M series servers running the engines, running the AI. We can debate that later.
I
but-
mean,
but-
you can be running it on that silicon and then still running the OpenAI models.
If it's OpenAI models, it'll be very interesting to see what happens when that leaks. If that fully leaks out, But
yeah,
to
it's one of
John's,
those I wasn't
but basically,
surprised.
I say this to John's point is that there's a very good likelihood that that's already hit.
It
But
has
it would be Apple of all people.
because yes, we already do because they came out in like 2022, 2023. We already have server chips that are all they're just ARM, and it's just a bunch of ARM cores that are on it, which is nice. But I want to see a revolution on that, actually more of an evolution on that, to have higher density cores on a larger substrate that you're going at from the x64 ARMS race here, which again the ARM64 is following a similar model, but you're going with x64 cores based off AMD and Intel fabrication designs that we've been having for years, like honestly, true decades at this point. And like that's great. They're awesome. I absolutely love the Epic systems and Threadripper that you have on that platform. Intel honestly has also been kind of coming back and killing it on the Xeon platform again. Those are awesome. I love it. It's great. But we need more choice, need more options. And like ARM is really kind of that new hotness that you can really start seeing on you're already seeing on the Linux side, like how efficient you can really get these workloads to get pushed through that architecture without having to consume as much power. You're not having to deal with the yielding issue that as bad of a yielding issue as you do on those other architecture platforms. And it's just honestly to me, it's something new. It's something that we are seeing a potential new shift in just how we build out our enterprise solutions that I really kind of want to see grow more. I mean, again, better options, better compute potential, and just things that you can scale up higher and lower depending on your needs at hopefully a similar or lower cost.
Maybe we'll get another X serve.
But
That's what I was.
honestly, I don't
thinking.
think we would get a proper Xserve. What I think Apple may eventually do is take like what they have with the M4 and that type of board, just put that in a 1U rack chassis and just say, here you go. Now,
Ooh, maybe a rack mountable Mac Pro.
yeah, so, or just a rack mount Mac, like
So
kind of
like
what
an Xserve.
similar to an Xserve, but it won't be running
Well,
any like server OS. It's just
Yeah.
it's just taking a standard Apple computer and just making it, hey, just a rack chassis. Here you
Okay.
go. And so
That'd be
you
kinda
can
cool.
because again, for like the developer side or for a lot of these environments out there that they love Apple, they want to put out Apple devices everywhere. Cool, you can actually have a large team inside of a single rack running all of these, saying, all right, cool, just remote into it. There you go. Here's your stuff, and you're done. It would be kind of a nice solution, honestly.
Matthew.
Okay, so I'm going to piggyback off of two of things John has said previously. First, when you were talking about SteamOS, to coincide with that, one of my most anticipated hardware things, if it comes out this year,
Mhm.
would be the Steam Controller 2.
Yeah.
Because
yes.
the leaked renders of it is basically the Steam Deck. You just take away the screen and it's that controller. Like
Nice.
having
That's what the Steam
the
controller was.
touchpads and everything. Because this
with Hall effects thumbsticks.
Yeah, the thumbsticks are fine. The touchpads on the Steam Deck are much better
Yes.
than the
Well, because they had much more R&D on those
yeah,
ones. Cause
and you
those
have
were proof of
two
concepts.
thumbsticks, so you don't have to use the touchpads if you don't want to. Just like the customizability of the controller is phenomenal. So that's number one. Number two, to piggyback on the ARM thing, is more RISC-V devices hitting mainstream. So when we're
Ooh,
talking
yes.
about
Yeah.
CPUs, we have x86. Ian and I were talking about this on the way. We have x86 is the AMD Intel side of things. ARM is also a RISC architecture, reduced instruction set. ARM is just ARM now, but it used to be an acronym for Advanced RISC Machine. RISC-V is a open source version of that, so it's not tied to the ARM licensing or anything. So there's a lot more possibilities there as far as different hardware manufacturers being able to spin up around it. One of them right now is called Deep Computing. I've been kind of following their stuff, and they have a partnership with the Framework laptops. They build their own main board for the Framework laptop, so you can get a Framework like the laptop and everything, and then get a RISC-V motherboard for it from Deep Computing. So I'm excited to see more of these things hit the mainstream and have a third competitor in the CPU architecture
Yeah, because
land.
we know eventually we're gonna get a native version of Windows that will run on ARM.
Yeah.
Now, it was rumored that Server 2025 was gonna run on ARM. It's not. Like Server 2025 is not gonna be ARM compatible at least right
I
now.
still can't get over the fact that they killed off the ARM dev kits,
Right?
but they gave us the link, the 365 link instead.
Well, because they also made the basically their version of the Chromebook that runs off of ARM.
Yeah.
That has Windows on it.
Like they have
It's,
just like half measured
LTE?
it the whole time.
Yeah,
like
it's-
their
it's-
ARM side of things.
Yeah, it's like Windows Lite, I think, something like that. That's supposed to be optimized for ARM, but yeah, it's Microsoft's being really weird around the ARM architecture. Like I'm not sure where they actually reside on it as of yet.
I think internally, whoever the powers be at Microsoft are the one whoever's pushing for Windows 365 and just basically remote desktop all the
Yeah.
way. I think that's who's actually calling the shots right now, and I think that's why ARM isn't going anywhere, because ARM is like at least the way it's currently utilized is the complete opposite of
But you
your
would
cloud
think
only.
that since they're not a hardware company, for the most part, as much as we all know that they would like to be, it would make sense to invest, especially on the server side of things, invest more on the ARM side of things to have those more efficient servers
Yeah.
You would
to
you would
run your 365 VMs in the cloud.
I think we're we're severely underestimating the weight of legacy tech thought in a company
True.
like Microsoft.
Good old Steve Ballmer still
Well, it's
his
like-
ghost
No.
is still hanging around.
No. It's just some old mentalities that are still residing in there. Like again, their current stance on like Exchange is always so wishy-washy. Like they keep saying, "Oh, we're not going to develop Exchange anymore. The next version of Exchange is going to be the last one," and then they've been claiming for years that they're going to release the next version. Haven't released it yet, and like I'm waiting for it. I want Exchange to die and let's just use Exchange Online. Let them handle that back end and just be done. Have the perpetual version of that just exist, and like saying, "Hey, cool. Back in the day, you used to self-host your email system. In 2025." Actually, since 2020, there has been zero reason really that you should take on that risk of self-hosting your own email system. In 2025, you definitely shouldn't be hosting your own email system in the current landscape that we exist in. It's a unnecessary, stupid risk in my opinion.
I'll take it a step further. Email just needs to die in general, not
yeah,
just
I mean, I'm
Exchange.
fine with the email dying. Like it would save me so much headache.
Steven.
I'm gonna go with AR, augmented reality. I'm as much as I'll caveat this with, I'm not necessarily excited for it for myself. There's probably a point in time where I may grab a device when it matures just for funsies. But as far as that branch of technology, I'm far more excited to see, and it seems like it is finally kind of happening. Um, as much as I hate to admit it, I think the release of, while this is not the format it will ultimately take, and it shouldn't, or just should take in general. I think the Apple Vision Pro kind of brought a real visual, like in a way that only Apple can, as far as showing off features, a visual of what life could be like with augmented, like true blue, effective augmented reality. And then I've seen some other just here and there little devices um that are presenting like true augmented reality, like actual, like just a pair of glasses. I think now the way that some of them work, they do kind of have uh, like a sub, like a projector apparatus behind the lens. It's really close, but it is kind of a double layered affair. But ultimately, the frame of it is truly just a pair of glasses that you put on, and has has minimal, very
I think
small
I've seen
wire.
this one.
And it projects, and it projects actual, like a computer screen, like actual AR. I'm
Are we talking about like something like the Nreal glasses?
I don't know names, I don't know brands.
Because there's
Probably,
also the
but
Meta like smart glasses too.
I have not seen those specifically.
They're chunks.
But anyway, but I think it's finally, like, that format has. I mean, Google Glass was effectively that. So I mean, that
I'm
concept
really sad
and
that got canned.
yeah,
Right.
but that concept and that format, that form factor has existed for a while. it just seems like it's finally maybe gained some traction where it will actually progress into what it kind of always should have been. And I'm excited to see the day that it really comes into its own, and there's multiple options that are that proper form factor that have some real performance behind them. Like they're capable of projecting like triple monitor displays, and even the what we've always been told will have the virtual keyboards. But
You
it's
can
all
take my programmable mechanical keyboard from my cold dead hands.
Hey, I'm with you.
Hey,
Like I said, I'm not necessarily excited for this for myself. That's just one of those like VR. I've always had very little interest in VR. I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's fine for those that like it. It's never been for me.
it's a neat gimmick. Like
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
VR, and I have quite a few games for it, and I've experimented with it. It's fine. It's
yeah,
a
it's
fun
neat.
experience, but it's not something that I would.
But I think AR has such
Yeah,
greater practical applications. It
agreed.
has such greater potential for being a use to society, being a useful tool to progress like different industries and stuff. So yeah, that's my
I am kind of looking forward to see how it shakes out.
yeah.
I look forward to the day when everybody is typing on their virtual keyboards and they all look like
Yeah, there is
orchestra conductors.
there is a bit of an entertainment aspect of it too. Yeah, I kind of it'll be cringy entertainment, but I think it'll be really entertaining when it finally becomes not ubiquitous, but truly popular.
I'll be really quick on mine. It's not anything that has been announced or anything, but it's something that I am looking forward to and hopeful that will come out this year. And that's a drastic improvement in TVs. We have had small incremental improvements over the last decade, it feels like, but no real true innovation that has come out. I think the biggest thing is the OLED TV.
I think they heard you, because at CES we have got some new LED technology that has come out that is a very close competitor now to OLED. I'm gonna have to look it back up. Remind me next
Ooh.
episode. I'll present it. But no, there's some new TVs that are gonna be coming out that are large format, really slick, are not based off of OLED, so you don't have the organic LED burn-in issues that you're gonna have. But it's also going to be mitigating, hopefully, a lot of the haloing issues you have with LED and mini LED TVs. And
Ooh, cool.
it's
Still keeping all the dimming zones and everything.
yep. Yeah, it's a
Sweet.
really cool tech.
I'm gonna have to look this
I
up.
don't remember. I'll send if I remember. I'll send a video for the editor notes to have down in the description as a reference point. That if I remember to add it in, we'll be able to discuss it a bit further. But no, there's some interesting stuff on the TV side that's coming out. Not just that tech. We're actually starting to get much better, like rolling displays, meaning like displays you can actually roll up
Mhm.
and things of that nature, and have more flexibility to it. So no, what you're asking for is coming. A lot of it right now is still in that uber like high end Halo products.
Of course.
It's gonna take a couple more years for the trickle down effect to happen, but no, you're gonna see it.
I
It's
just
gonna
want
be
the
nice.
news of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be really really cool if it matures the way that it looks like it's going to.
To me, the next big TV tech is rolling. It is. I mean, we can talk all day long about the different like OLED, LED, blah 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 blah. I mean, there's to the vast majority of humanity, they all look the same. And even to those of us who do pay very close attention, it's very easy to ignore most of the differences. In my opinion, it is the rolling TV is going to be rolling screens in general are going to be massive, because at the moment we've reached the limit of being able to practically transport your own television. Most large TVs, most people cannot transport it themselves. They have to immediately rent something.
What are you talking about? I can totally fit a 65-inch TV in a Versa.
So once we get into the TV can roll up into its base, I think that's where you're gonna have that. To me, that's what I'm waiting for. I want that really, really badly. So my most anticipated hardware is not actually is kind of hardware, kind of service, but this does have a hardware requirement to a degree. That is Starlink cell service.
I'm on the beta for T-Mobile.
I do not think
I forgot to sign up for that.
I don't think we can fully grasp how revolutionary that will be. because right now there's actually a service out there, a company that you can actually both purchase sat phones and rent sat phones through. And it's basically like looking at the origin, like the original cell plans is what it is. It's by the minute. You're looking at minimum of $100. For regular phones, you're looking at about $100 a month. By and then by minute over like 200 minutes or something like that. There is a service that's a bit cheaper. That is basically a puck that you connect your cell phone to, and then that can communicate. It's not as expensive, but it's still it's equivalent to a mid to high end cell plan with like no data, and you even have to pay by text. So very, very expensive. Being able to go straight to even if you have to go just by take the Starlink plan on your phone or a small subset of that, my word, that is going to be massive for so many people.
I'm here for it. I mean, we use Starlink for internet
So like
at our house, and it's pretty great.
So like Matthew's our brother, what he does right now is a lot of it is out in the middle of nowhere, and we have to schedule like legit middle of nowhere somewhere in the globe, and he has to schedule time to talk. We can't just talk to him. We can't just text him. We can't just message him. He has windows. And when he goes on to do what he's about to be doing, there's actually a good chance we won't talk to him for like a couple of weeks. Whereas if his iPhone had Starlink, well, we just talk to him at night. John. Oh wait, you already did yours.
Yeah, I did mine. I started this.
Yeah. All right. Anyone have anything that was not listed?
Oh, the only thing that like I would want to bring up here for the last option that we had of something forgotten. This is a pipe dream. I know it's not going to come back. They're not the same company they used to be. But for the love of God, if Microsoft could bring another Windows Media Center to market again, I would be such a happy lad. I miss the old
Yeah, I don't think
Windows
it-
Media Center.
I don't think it could ever be the same.
I know, I'm living in nostalgia, but like having the setup I have now with the home theater, it would just be the cream of the crop. That like if I could have the Windows Media Center again back in its prime, it'd be great.
I've got it now. There would be I tried this. There's a bit of an issue with drivers as well, at least depending on the machine that you're putting it on. I've still got my copy of Windows Vista Ultimate.
We might have to do an experiment.
I'm just saying. Pretty sure that was still a version that Media Center came default
Yeah,
on.
I believe
That,
so.
like it came on the install.
Yeah, it's just one of those. I never got. We played around with it when I was a child. There were a couple of my dad's friends who had it, and it was the coolest thing ever. But I never got to myself just just interact with it myself.
Just sit you're randomly listening to music, and
Yeah.
you meant to be because this is what would happen is you would be wanting to listen to music, you'd turn it on, and you'd want to intend to do something else while you're listening to music, but what you'd actually end up doing is just staring at the media center graphics, that background,
It's
the
like,
entire time you're listening to the music.
I've had that experience, but it was also just like being again the concept I have now with Jellyfin, but it was just like it was so cool back then that oh my god, this little box here, it can not only play my music, I can go over there, it has my movies, it has my TV shows, and I control it from this remote, but it's my computer. Like that was such a cool thing back then. I know we have the Android set top boxes, Roku's, Fire TVs, the Apple TV, all that, which are far superior than what that solution did. But it would still be nice at saying, hey, if I have a computer hooked up in my living room, because I'm one of those individuals that does, it would be nice to say I can still have that experience if I so choose.
I miss Apple's Front Row, which was their version
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah,
It was
front
so
row
nice.
was cool.
All right. Anybody else? All right. I think we have made it through episode 2 of season 2.
Well, once again, thank you for joining us on the Hostility Morning podcast. If you stayed this long and like what you heard, leave a comment and let us know. You can also hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or send us an email at info@hostilityinthemorning.com. We upload every Tuesday real early on Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. If you want a one-stop shop for everything hostile, you can find everything at hostilityinthemorning.com. And remember, have a hostile morning.